Hey guys, welcome back for another video. I hope wherever you are doing good today. Today is going to be a super practical one, hopefully helpful in your work, in your own life. And so we are talking about technology and really looking at emails, 10 rules of email. And even in the last few years, technology has changed so much about how we communicate. We're communicating now on video. And so let's look at 10 rules of email. Craig Rochelle, pastor of Life Church in America, said, we have to make sure technology is enhancing our relationships, not replacing them. We need to make sure our ability to communicate doesn't cause us to talk more while actually saying less. I think that's so true. As technology evolves, we need to learn how to not just communicate, but communicate effectively. And in relationships, any relationships, without communication, relationships will struggle in work, in home life, and family life. And so we're gonna, whether you love them or hate them, emails are here to stay. They're kind of like a universally accepted way of communicating, aren't they? And so, we want to make sure that they are enhancing our work, helping us to be productive as well. So here are 10 practical rules of emails, which I found helpful. And, I try and implement in my life, in my working with emails. And so hopefully this will help you feel maybe a little bit less overwhelmed by emails and help them become a tool rather than just a pain or distraction. Okay, number one, are you ready for it? First of all, ask yourself, should I communicate this with an email? We have lots of thoughts in our head of what we should say to someone, but not everything that we think or needs to be said or emailed to someone. There's other ways to communicate with someone. And so first of all, ask yourself, should I communicate this with an email? Ask yourself, why am I writing this email? Do I have a clear purpose in mind? And I reckon if you're going to be just like waiting for a reply, really anxious about it, maybe it's best to get a bit more of a quicker response and more urgent response. And so maybe a different way, maybe giving that person a call, maybe speaking face to face, organize a meeting, that might be a better way of getting in touch with someone. But if you don't mind waiting, then email is good. But if you're spending like 40 minutes rewriting that email, going for it over, should I say this, should I say that? Pick up the phone, give someone a call. And so, should you wait forever for getting a reply? No, I reckon not. But, if you're going to be really anxious about waiting for a call, a reply, go for it. Send that email. So, if you're feeling upset or angry, if you're not sure, if you're feeling really emotional at that moment, write a draft email, wait in the morning, and then work out if you actually want to send it. Emails are really good at communicating information. They're really bad at collaboration and decision making. And so if you want to communicate information, go for it, send that email. And secondly, linked to that is appropriate response time. Allow appropriate response time. The person that you're emailing is not just sitting there waiting for your email, probably. And so, they've got a job to do, they've got a life to live themselves. And so, unless it's expected in the organization that you're working in, we can't expect an instant reply to our emails. And so if it is urgent, give them a call, give a text. They're probably a higher success rating of getting a quicker answer. But, if you're going to wait, I would say wait 24, 48 hours working time, working days. And maybe on day 3 you could follow up with a question, hey, did you get my email? But you don't have to go up to your office mate as soon as you send an email, say, did you get my email? Another way of doing it is, give them a time or date to reply by. Hey, get back to me by Friday, or get back to me by next Wednesday. And if you've not got a reply, then that means you've given yourself permission to follow up on that email as well. So that's number 2, allow appropriate response time. Number 3, keep it short. I remember at school, we had to read essays, we had to write essays. I think I've read enough to last me a lifetime. And so, in your inbox, you do not want to receive essays. And so don't send essays to someone. The problem with long emails is that it's harder to get the motivation to reply to it. So you've got to sit down, work out what they're saying. So keep emails as short as possible, cover the essential details briefly. If there's a lot of information to communicate, maybe break it down to bullet points, or simply arrange a meeting or a phone call. Get to the point. You don't need to write an email. So keep it short, number 3. Number 4, keep it sweet. I don't know about you, but if you've ever got like a text or a message and you're just like, whoa, what does that mean? And you're like not in the best place to receive that. It could be misinterpreted. I know I've definitely done that. And so when you're writing an email, take into consideration how the person's going to read it. Take into consideration, what mood they might be in. Could it be misinterpreted? How well do you know them? That might determine the type of language that you use in your email. Could it be taken a different way from what you meant it? And so, when you're writing emails, err on the side of being more positive. And so you can even read it out loud to see how it sounds to you. So number 4, keep it sweet. Number 5, don't write what you don't want shared. I think my philosophy is that if I want something to be completely private, don't put it on the internet. It's so easy even to screenshot an email, put it on Twitter within seconds, and chaos could ensue. And so I would say have in your mind that actually if it's something that is super private, don't send that in an email. And maybe that's just me being skeptical. That's cool. You can judge me for that. And so if you want to discuss something highly personal or private, phone call, maybe it's just the government listening to that, I don't know, or do it in person. Speak to the person in person, and just be aware that maybe not everything you're writing is totally private. Number 6, be specific. You are likely to send an email that's arriving into an inbox that's already full of dozens of other emails requesting answers or replies. And so to make it efficient for the person and to get maybe a quicker response, make it a really specific thing. Have a clear subject. Keep your conversations in the email to one subject. Don't try and cover 5 different things in one email. If you want to send a couple of emails on specific things, that's maybe better than just trying to get it all into one email. And it helps the email to stay on track with why you're sending that email in the first place. Number 7, indicate the action required. Do you want someone to reply to your email? Do you want them to get you some information? When do you want them to reply by? Do you want them to do something for you? Do you want their opinion on something? If you don't have a clear action, then they might not know what to do with it. And you might not get what you're wanting. And so make it as clear and as specific the action required. And so when you're writing an email, summing it up with just let me know your thoughts. That's probably that's more process time for the person to think about, okay, what are my thoughts? And you might not get back the feedback that you're looking for. What would you actually like your opinion on? Their opinion on. So make it specific when you're doing that. Generalizations will usually lead to general responses. So being more specific really helps as well. If you're arranging a meeting for a time, suggest a time, suggest a place. Don't just say, let me know when you're free, but suggest, and they can come back to you and say, okay, that doesn't work for me, and maybe a different time does. So, but that helps you nail things down a bit quicker as well in your emails. Having that action towards the start of it as well, start of an email, is really helpful. So you could say something like, have a read through this email and let me know, your thoughts on these 2 things. And so that means when someone's going through the email, they're not waiting to the end to find out what they need to do with it. That they actually know and they're prepared as they read through the email what they should be doing with it. Number 8, never reply all unless necessary or it's requested. Okay, so maybe this is just me. This is maybe a pet hate from me. But if the information that you're sending is necessary for everyone, then send it to everyone. If it's not, then you do not need to send reply all to an email. And so, otherwise you end up piling emails into people's inboxes that's not relevant for them. And that also means that they get used to irrelevant emails from you. And so maybe that means it'll be slower to reply to emails that you do want responses to them from. And so, please don't use that, reply all. Number 9, simple, obvious, but proofread your email. There's been so many times where I've said, hey, here's a document, here's a PDF, let's attach this, and they're like, where's they send back a reply, where's the attachment? And so, we need to remember to send attachments. And so to proofread our emails, we can double check that we've attached things, or we can proofread that we're sending them to the right recipient. You don't want to send emails to the wrong person. Sometimes people's names, autofills, it's the wrong person. Make sure you're sending it to the right person. You've got the title of the email, the subject of the email there. Make sure it makes sense. Not just that it makes sense to you, but makes sense to them as well. So double check these things, proofread your email. And number 10, finally, set boundaries on your communication. And so if you're constantly on your emails for work, then you also need some time for downtime when you're not on your emails as well. I try not to have my emails on my phone, my work emails. And because I know for me, I don't have the self-control to not look at them all the time. Maybe you do, that's cool for you. But if it's always there, I know I'll be constantly checking it as well. And so I love to get emails because it makes me feel important, even if it's like I've subscribed to some sort of newsletter. That number going up of emails in my inbox makes me feel important, and that's maybe not a good thing. And so sometimes it makes us feel like we're being productive because we're always on email. We're the center of the world, but we're not. And I read recently that if you are on your day off and you check an email that's work related, it's going to take about at least half an hour for your mind to switch off again. And so that just breaks up our days of rest, our time off, our holidays. And we actually need those times so that when we're at work and when we're supposed to be working, we can give our best. We're refreshed, we're ready to go. So I would say, have boundaries in place, know what works for you. It's going to work different for everybody. And so rest well. Your emails will still be there on a Monday. If it is urgent, someone will call you. So that's my advice on that. And I guess maybe as a bonus to these 10 rules of email, have a system for sorting out your emails, processing your emails. When do you do it? Where do you do it? I try and do mine sort of towards the end of the workday. Emails will come in, I can send responses, and then the next day they're ready for me if someone's replied to it. Where's your time and place for communication? So let me go through them very quickly. Number 1, ask yourself, should I communicate this with an email? Number 2, allow appropriate response time. 3, keep it short. 4, keep it sweet. 5, don't write what you don't want shared. Number 6, be specific. 7, indicate the action required from the email. Number 8, never reply all unless necessary or requested. Number 9, proofread your email. Number 10, set boundaries on your communication. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment. Let me know on Instagram or Twitter @DanEverett90. What have you found useful in your workings with emails? I'm sure we all have emails and we all work with them. What's helpful for you? Or what's a different way of you communicating through technology? What have you found that works? And so if you found this encouraging, if it's helpful, whatever, please like it, share it with friends, etc. But thank you so much for watching, and see you soon.